Okay, this is kind of an introduction video to the different features of Macromedia FireWk, which is kind of a fun program. It's kind of like paint on steroids. You can do a lot of things with it, a lot of creating graphics and whatnot. What we're doing today is we're going to be creating a image that looks something like this. What we create will be a little bit different, but it's going to be some type of networking picture. And you'll have some freedom to kind of add your own flavor as we go through. To start, we got to create a canvas, a blank canvas. So we go to the File menu and choose New, File, New. It's going to ask us how big we want it. And let's go ahead and make it 500 pixels by 500 pixels. Okay? If your screen looks a little bit different, and it's asking you, do you want to open or create new? Click Create New, and then your screen should give you an option for how big. 500 pixels by 500 pixels, and then say OK. That creates our background. Now the first thing we're going to do is create a computer or a PC. So we're going to come over to our toolbars over here and find the one. Yours might look a little bit different depending on what was used last, but it's right here next to the A. Click and hold down. Click and hold down the little drop down, and here are all of the different shapes we can create very quickly. Choose the rectangle tool at the top. Come over to your document and just create a rectangle for the base of the computer. Now this, mine is black. Yours could be a different color. But most computers are that gray. We want to make this kind of a gray color. So at the bottom of the screen, if you look down at the bottom of the screen, you always have your properties. And this is where you can change the way an object looks. So if we look at the color here, the little fill, click on that and choose a lighter gray. And notice now it's changed colors. Also here on the left-hand side now, notice the fill color is also changed. We changed it down here and automatically changed on the side. With the rectangle still selected, we're going to make the monitor for the computer. So come up and click and drag, and this make this more of a square. And if you don't get it like right in the center, you can use your arrow keys to kind of nudge it to the left or to the right. And yours now should look similar to mine. The monitor itself, the screen, we're going to want to make that white. So I'm going to come over here. Notice first, before I do that, this object is selected. You can see the handles. I'm going to zoom in so we can get a little better look. I'm going to come to the lower right-hand corner where it says 100%. Click on that. I'm going to choose 200. So now we've just zoomed in a little bit. And you can see the handles. I need to, if I want to change something and not change this object, I have to deselect. So I'm going to come over here with my black pointer tool, click that, and then click off. So now notice that object is not selected. Now we want to change the fill color because we want to make a white rectangle from the middle. So I'm going to change the fill color to white. Come back to my rectangle box, select it, then come over and draw a rectangle. And you always want to start in the upper left-hand corner and drag down to the lower right-hand corner. Leave a border around the outside, and now we have a white box in the middle that represents the screen. All right, looking like a PC. Now I'm going to come up and with draw like a little floppy drive or a CD-ROM drive down here with a little white line. So above the rectangle tool, I'm going to click on the line tool. And if you look down here, the bucket is the fill color. This pencil right here, that's the line color, or they call it the stroke. And this white box with the line through it says right now there's no color on this stroke. If I would draw it, nothing would show up. So click on that, and let's choose white. Now the line will be white. Come up and just draw a Little line to represent the CD-ROM drive. It's very thin and narrow, and we want to make this thicker, so come down to the lower part of the screen, the bottom of the screen, to the properties arrow, and you can see the bucket over here. That's the fill color with none in it. Then here's the line or the stroke color, white, and this 1 is the size, and that's the pixels. Just like in Word, you know, font size 10, font size 12, font size 20. It's the same same thing. Here we want to increase our font size, say to 10 or 11, and now it looks like a CD-ROM. Okay? Go ahead and zoom out back to 100%, and I want to come up to my black pointer tool, click that, and then deselect. And there you have our PC. Now right now the problem is I can click on each one of these individually because they're all separate objects. But if I want to move them, I want to group them, glue them together. To do that, we have to select them. So with the black pointer selected, click way up here off the image, click and drag, and as you click and drag down to the right, you can see that box that's drawn around our image. When you let go, everything inside the box is automatically selected. Come up to the Modify window, Modify menu, and then all the way at the bottom choose Group. And when you choose Group, now this image becomes one. I can move it around. I can do what I want with it because it's one image. It's got a little residual there. There we go. Residual, okay? Now, if you look at our sample file here, we're going to have 4 PCs we're working with. So I want to copy this one. So I'm going to right-click, choose Edit, choose Copy. Oops, did I choose K? I'm going to choose Cut. I just hit Undo there, Control-Z to bring that back. Choose Edit and choose Copy. Now I'm going to come to my document here, right-click and choose Paste. Now you're going to say, gee, I choose Paste and nothing happened. Well, it pasted our new image right on top of our old image. So if you take your mouse, click on it and drag, you can see that second image. Okay? I'm going to paste it again. So right-click, click in the white area and choose Paste. Again, nothing seems to change, but if you click on that original PC, click and drag it off, you can see another image. And then again, paste again. Oops. Come to the white area, right-click and choose Paste, and then drag it down here. So there are our 4 PCs. And in networking, actually drag them down a little bit because we need a little space at the top for a heading. So make sure you got a little room here. I'm going to drag these down a little bit, a little more towards the bottom. There we go. I'm getting a little delayed reaction when I'm moving my stuff. Okay? So your screen should look like mine with a little space at the top and a little space here on the right-hand side. In the middle here, we're going to create the server. So we're going to do that a little differently. We're going to choose, come up to our image button, click and hold, and this time I'm going to choose a rounded rectangle. So it's a rectangle with the edges rounded. For the fill color, come to the fill color, I'm going to make that a blue. Then I'm going to come into my document and kind of right in the middle in between all of the PCs, I'm going to draw a server that looks like that. It'll be a tower. Now we have to draw the base of the server, and we're going to keep using our rounded rectangle tool. Click and drag, always start in the upper left-hand corner, drag to the lower right, and then click off by selecting the rectangle tool and clicking off on it. Now yours will look a little bit different than mine, so just relax for a minute. The first thing is if you need to move things around with that black tool, the black pointer, you can click on it and drag it and move it where you want. Okay? So I'm going to move mine up a little bit. Now notice my base, and yours will look again a little bit different, has that really thick white line around it. That is the stroke, or the line around it. So if I come down to my properties, you can see here it's on 11. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag that down to, say, 1 or 2. That 1 or 2. Now it's a lot smaller. I want that to be blue, but not, I don't want it to be white. I want it to be a shade of blue. So with the base selected, make sure you've got it clicked. You can see those little handles there. I'm going to come down to my fill color on the bottom. Select that. I'm going to choose a lighter shade of blue. So now when you click off or deselect, you can kind of see the outline. You can't see it real well. I'm going to select it again, and I'm going to make it maybe a little lighter blue. That's too light. Something along maybe those lines, something like that. Exactly what color you choose is up to you. Again, I'm going to select this one up here. I'm going to use my arrow keys, and by using my arrow keys, I'm just nudging it over so it's kind of in the center. Okay? So there we have our server. It's hard to tell that's a server, so we're going to label it. And we're going to label it with our text tool. So come over with your mouse on the left-hand side toolbar. There's a big button that has an A in it. That's your text tool. Click on that. Then come click and drag it over the server, and then type in the word server. Okay. Your font type and size will probably be different than mine, which is fine. Go ahead and take your mouse and select the text. Or if you don't select the text, you can't select the text, just select the outside of the box. So we know, so you've got either the object selected or the letters selected. I'm going to come down here to our property tools, and we can pick a nice font that's easy to read. Go ahead and choose whatever you want. Right next to the font type is the font size. Make it a little bit smaller, say in the 30 range. Okay? And then I'm going to come over and select my black pointer and then move it more centered over the server. Now it'd be nice if the word server was actually on the server itself and not hanging over. So we're going to kind of skew it. We're going to rotate it and skew it a little bit. To do that, we have to use a different tool. So come up over the upper, at the top of the left-hand side here. Underneath the black pointer is the scale tool. So click on the scale tool up here. And notice now we have a different kind of handles, different shapes and different colors. And as I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. I'm going to zoom in to 200%. And if you notice, as I move my mouse around the edge, it actually changes shape from a circle. Here's a double arrow right there. Here is 4 arrows. And each time you move and it changes shape, the mouse will do something different. If it's 4 arrows like this, that means I can move it. If it's 2 arrows like this, that means I can drag it and make it bigger or smaller. But if it's a circle like this, a circle arrow, I can click and rotate it. So I'm going to click and rotate it, and I'm going to resize it so the word server, by rotating it and resizing it, is in the word, or in the actual server box. And I can also use your arrow keys to move it a little bit too. Something along those lines. And then go ahead and click off. So the word server now should be on top of your server computer. If the color's not good, make sure you've selected it. You can come down to the bottom here then and I have it black. You can leave it black, you can make it bold, you could change the color to yellow if you want, whatever you'd like to do, whatever you think is best. Okay? Now right now the server is made up of different parts. We want to group all of that together. So make sure your black pointer is selected. Come up to the upper left hand corner. Don't touch the PC, don't touch the other computer, but start in the white area up here and over enough so you can click and drag and make a box around just the server. Don't touch any other object. When you do that, everything inside the box is selected. Come to the Modify menu, choose Modify Group, and now that server is one object. And we can resize it or move it or do anything we want. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. It'll be a little easier as we do our drawings. Okay? All right. Now the next thing, let me go ahead and zoom out so we can see the big picture. I'm going to zoom out to 150%. So we can see everything in one screenshot. Now, as part of networking, each computer is connected to the server through a cord or through wirelessly. So we have to create a representation showing the connection there. So we're going to come over to our object button, click and hold, and this time we're going to draw an arrow. So select the arrow button and draw an arrow from, well, it'll be a straight arrow, so just click and drag and draw an arrow to the side. Look kind of long and narrow, something along those lines. You probably want a dark color, like a black. So if yours isn't black, like mine's yellow, I want to change that. Come to the bottom. With that arrow selected, my property is at the bottom here. Choose black. Okay. The next thing I want to do is rotate it. And to rotate it, we come back to our scale tool like we were there before. So in the upper left-hand corner, click on the scale tool, which is right underneath the black pointer. Now we can come up and rotate the arrow. You can use these little teeny, you can resize it a little bit if you want. And come back and choose the black pointer again. And when you choose the black pointer, you can use the yellow diamonds to change the shape of the actual arrow a little bit. Make things narrow or out or however you want to do it. I'll let you be the judge on that. Okay? So there's one arrow. We're going to create another arrow now. Select on the arrow tool. Make a straight one. Click the scale tool and rotate it. Make sure again it changes shapes. As you move it, it's got to have that circular arrow on it. And have it point towards the server. To use the arrows or the yellow diamonds to reshape it, remember you have to come back to the black pointer and then you can reshape it a little bit. Okay? And then deselect. We have a couple arrows for those. For these computers, we're going to use a line. Now, we could use arrows again, but I'm just showing you a little bit different technique because part of this instruction video is to see how to use different tools. So instead of using arrows this time, we're going to use a line tool. So right above the object button that we've been using is the line tool. So click on that line tool. And look at the bottom here. I need to, right now my line has no color and no size. So I have to go from the bottom, choose black to give it a color, and then the size is 1. I'm just going to make that 3, just to give it a little thickness. And I'm going to click from the bottom computer and let go when I get to the top computer. And it makes a straight line. Now, a straight line is nice, and we could probably leave this if we wanted to. But I want to show you how to change the straight line into a curved line. There are a couple different ways to do it. The first way is to come up on the left-hand side and choose the freeform tool. It's right underneath the line tool and the object button. Click on that and choose free form. Now when we come to our line, you click on it, you see a bunch of little handles. So kind of click and drag, and you can kind of see now how you're wrapping and rotating that straight line. We're going to do the same thing with the line for the other computer. Choose the straight line tool on the left hand side. Draw a straight line from the PC to the server, and then apply the free form tool to it. Come and click and kind of rotate and just kind of move it around a little bit and just give it a little feel like that. Okay? When you're finished, choose the black pointer again and then click on the side to deselect. So there we have our PCs. They're all connected to the server. The server and networking then connects out to the internet out here a little bit. So we're going to draw an image out here to represent the internet. So let's come over to our tool, our object tool. And I'm going to come down here and I am going to choose this spiral. Come over to the right hand side and just kind of draw a big old spiral. You can, with the black pointer selected, then you can move it and resize it and kind of get it to where you want it to be. Don't make it too big. We want some space between the server and the internet. We want some space in there. It looks a little boring right now, so we're going to do a couple things to jazz it up. First thing is to give it a little color. So I'm going to come down to the bottom of my properties and choose the fill color. And we can make it like maybe a red or a yellow or an orange, something like that. But the internet is still a little more exciting than just a plain old solid color. So let's play with that a little bit. Come down to where it says solid color here in the properties. Click the drop down. So where it says solid now, we can just take a second and look through all the different patterns that you can choose. Come down here to granite, and this is where we're going to get ours from. Choose a granite, some pattern that you like. You don't have to like the colors. We'll change the colors in a minute. But just choose kind of a fun. I'm going to choose the satin color. Okay. Now notice there's two colors making up this granite look. We can change those colors by coming back to our fill color, our property box in the lower left-hand corner. Clicking on that, and then notice here, there's the black and there's the orange. I'm going to click where on that black tab at the bottom, and that pops up our color box, and I'm going to choose kind of a green. You can choose whatever you want. And notice now how the green overpowers the orange. So I'm going to click on this orange one and drag it down. And notice as I drag it down, it becomes more and more and more orange. So I'm going to come and just kind of bring it maybe over a third. You can kind of do what you want, but kind of give it a different kind of scary, fun little look. Okay? Once you do that, and again, at any point here, you can pause the video, play around with these different colors, these different things, and then come back to the video when you're ready to move on. Okay, go ahead and click off. Now over here, when you look at our internet representation, and you click on that spiral, you see these two black boxes. Those two black handles also help shape the color. So if I click on one and I move it, notice how the lines change shape. If I click and drag it out, again, it will change shape one way or the other. Same thing with the other line. If you move it. So kind of move those around until you kind of get it psychedelic enough that you like. Let's talk about the outside black line of our internet spiral. Right now it's just a plain black line, and we want it a little more nimbulous, a little less constrained, because the internet represents kind of clouds, and you really can't put your fingers on the internet. So we want to change that line a little bit. Come down to, again, make sure it's selected. Come down to our properties at the bottom and choose the tool, the color for our line fill, and change the color. I'm going to make it a red. That's the first step. Then right next to it is the thickness. We're going to leave it a 3. But right next to that is a box. Click that drop-down box, and that's the stroke category. And a stroke is another name for a line. Here are all the different things you can do to a line. Click and hold, and you can see the different things. Take a minute, pause the video if you want to look them through. I'm going to choose random confetti. Random confetti. And that kind of gives it a little loose, kind of a loose little look to it. Okay? Now I'm going to stop. This is part 1 of this video. I'm going to stop it now. Make sure you've saved your changes. So go to the File menu, hit Save, save your changes. Then come back in part 2 of our introduction video, and we'll finish our picture.